Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Daily English Learn. I'm Eva.
And I'm Mark. Thanks for joining us today.
Mark, I want to ask you something right from the start. Have you ever been in a situation where you understood every single word someone said in English, but when it was your turn to respond, your mouth just wouldn't cooperate?
Oh, absolutely, Eva. I think every learner has felt that exact moment. You know what to say in your head, but your voice just stops working. It's like your brain disconnects from your mouth.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Not just why this happens, but more importantly, what you can actually do about it. Because here's the truth. It's not about your vocabulary being too small. It's not about grammar rules. The real problem is something completely different.
And by the end of this lesson, you're going to understand why you freeze when speaking English, and you'll walk away with real strategies that actually work in daily life. This isn't theory. This is practical stuff you can use starting today.
So let's dive in. Mark, why do you think most learners can read English, listen to English, maybe even write okay, but when it comes to speaking, they suddenly feel paralyzed?
I think it starts with something very simple, Eva. It's the fear of being wrong. But not just wrong, it's the fear of looking foolish in front of others. When you're reading or listening, nobody sees your mistakes, but when you speak, you're exposed. Everyone hears you.
That's such an important point. And let me add to that. When you're silent, you feel safe. You think, well, if I don't speak, I won't make a mistake. And if I don't make a mistake, people won't judge me. But here's what happens. The longer you stay silent, the bigger that fear grows.
Right, and it becomes a cycle. You avoid speaking because you're scared, then because you don't practice speaking, you get even worse at it, and then the fear gets stronger.
Exactly. So let's break this down very clearly. The real enemy here is not English, it's not grammar, it's not vocabulary. The real enemy is hesitation. When you hesitate too much, you start overthinking, and overthinking kills your ability to speak naturally.
I love that you said that, Eva, because I see this all the time. Students know the words, they know the grammar, but they spend so much time thinking, is this sentence correct? Should I use past tense or present? And while they're thinking, the conversation moves on.
Right, and then they feel embarrassed because they missed their chance to speak. So let me tell you something very clearly. In real English conversation, nobody cares if your grammar is perfect. Nobody. What people care about is this. Can they understand you? That's it.
That's such a powerful mindset shift, Eva. If someone says to you, I go to market yesterday, yes, it's grammatically wrong, but do you understand what they mean? Of course you do. Communication happened.
Exactly. So the first thing I want every listener to understand today is this. Your goal is not perfection. Your goal is connection. When you speak, you're trying to share an idea, express a feeling, or respond to someone. That's what matters.
And once you accept that, the pressure starts to lift. You stop waiting for the perfect sentence to form in your head. You just start speaking.
Now let's talk about something very specific that stops people from speaking, and that's the translation habit. Mark, what do you think happens when someone hears a question in English, translates it into their native language in their head, thinks of an answer in their native language, and then tries to translate that answer back into English before speaking?
Oh, that process takes way too long. By the time they've done all that, the conversation is already over. And even worse, when you translate word by word, your English sounds stiff and unnatural.
Exactly. And here's what I tell my students. You need to start thinking in English, even if it's just simple thoughts. Don't translate. When someone asks you, how was your day? Don't think, how do I say this in English? Just respond with simple words. Good. Busy. Tiring. It was okay. Short answers are completely fine.
I love that advice. And you know what? Most native speakers give short answers too. If someone asks me, hey Mark, how's it going? I don't give a 5-minute speech. I just say, pretty good, thanks. Or, not bad, you?
Right. So let's practice this idea right now. I'm going to ask you a simple question, Mark, and I want our listeners to answer out loud as well, even if you're alone. Don't think too much, just answer. Ready?
Ready.
What did you eat for breakfast today?
I had toast and tea.
Perfect. Simple, clear, direct. Now, listeners, did you answer? If not, rewind and try again. Say it out loud. I had coffee. I ate rice. I skipped breakfast. Whatever your answer is, just say it. Don't overthink.
And that's the exercise I want you to do every single day. Ask yourself simple questions and answer them in English out loud. What am I wearing today? I'm wearing a blue shirt. What's the weather like? It's sunny. Where am I sitting? I'm sitting at my desk. These tiny daily habits train your brain to respond in English automatically.
Absolutely. And let's talk about another huge roadblock, the need to say everything correctly before you open your mouth. I see this so much. Students sit there rehearsing the sentence in their head 5 times before speaking, and by the time they're ready, the moment is gone.
Yes, and here's what I tell people. Speak first, correct later. It's better to say something with a small mistake than to say nothing at all, because when you speak, even if it's imperfect, you're learning, you're building fluency.
That's so true. And let me tell you, native speakers make mistakes too. All the time. We say, I didn't went instead of I didn't go. We mix up words. We forget what we were saying mid-sentence. It happens. And people still understand us.
Exactly. So if you make a mistake while speaking English, don't stop and apologize and restart the whole sentence. Just keep going. Most people won't even notice.
Now, I want to address something that might sound a bit harsh, but it's important. If you're waiting to feel fully confident before you start speaking English, you'll be waiting forever. Confidence doesn't come before speaking. Confidence comes from speaking.
That's such a critical point, Eva. You can't build confidence by staying silent. You build it by trying, making mistakes, surviving those mistakes, and realizing the world didn't end.
Right. So let me share a very practical strategy. Start speaking English in low-pressure situations. Don't jump into a business meeting or a job interview. Start small. Talk to yourself while cooking. Describe what you're doing. I'm chopping onions. I'm boiling water. I'm adding salt.
I love that. And here's another low-pressure situation. Record yourself. Take out your phone, open the voice recorder, and just talk for 1 minute about anything. Your day, your favorite food, a movie you watched, then listen to it.
Yes, and when you listen, don't focus on your mistakes. Focus on what you did well. Did you finish a full sentence? Great. Did you use a new word? Amazing. Celebrate those small wins.
You know, Eva, I think one reason people freeze is they forget that English is just a tool. It's not a test, it's not a performance, it's a tool for communication. And like any tool, the more you use it, the better you get.
That's beautiful, Mark. English is a tool. Say that again for everyone.
English is a tool. You use it to share ideas, ask questions, make friends, get help, express yourself. That's it. So stop treating it like some giant exam you have to pass.
Now let's talk about real situations where people freeze. One of the most common is when someone asks you an unexpected question. Maybe you're at a shop and the salesperson says, "Are you looking for something specific?" And suddenly your mind goes blank.
Yes, and here's what happens. You panic because you didn't prepare for that exact question. But here's the secret. You don't need to prepare for every possible question. You just need a few go-to phrases that buy you time.
Exactly. So let me give you some. If someone asks you something and you need a moment to think, say, let me think, or that's a good question, or sorry, can you repeat that? These phrases give your brain a few extra seconds.
And those few seconds are enough, because once you say something, anything, the conversation keeps moving. You're not stuck anymore.
Right. Let's practice one together. Mark, I'm going to ask you a random question and you use one of those phrases before answering. Ready?
Ready.
What do you think is the hardest part about learning English?
Let me think. I'd say the hardest part is probably pronunciation, because every word sounds different.
Perfect. See how natural that was? You didn't freeze, you used a filler phrase, gave yourself time, and then answered. Listeners, try this technique in your next conversation.
And here's another tip. If you completely forget a word while speaking, don't stop. Describe it instead. Let's say you forget the word refrigerator. Just say, the big box in the kitchen where we keep food cold. People will understand.
Yes, and often the other person will say, "Oh, you mean the fridge?" And boom, you just learned the word in a real context.
Exactly. So stop thinking you need perfect vocabulary. You need communication skills. And part of communication is working around the words you don't know.
Now, let's talk about something that might surprise you. One major reason people freeze when speaking is they're trying to translate complex ideas. They want to say something deep or impressive, but they don't have the English words for it yet, so they get stuck.
Right. And here's my advice. Simplify your ideas. If you can't say something complex, say something simple. Instead of saying, I'm contemplating the philosophical implications of modern technology, just say, I'm thinking about how phones change our lives. Same idea, simpler words.
Exactly. You don't need to sound like a university professor. You need to sound clear, and simple English is clear English.
You know, Ava, I also think people freeze because they compare themselves to native speakers. They hear someone speak fast and fluently, and they think, I'll never sound like that.
Oh, that comparison trap is so dangerous because yes, you might never sound exactly like a native speaker, but guess what? You don't need to. There are millions of people around the world who speak English as a second language, and they communicate perfectly fine with their own accent and style.
Absolutely. Your accent is not a problem. Your hesitation is the problem. So focus on speaking clearly, not sounding native.
Now, let's do a very practical exercise together. I want you to describe your morning routine in English, just 3 or 4 sentences. Don't worry about being perfect. Mark, you go first.
Sure. I wake up at 6:30. I brush my teeth and take a shower. Then I make coffee and check my phone. After that, I leave for work.
Great. Simple, clear, easy to understand. Now, listeners, pause this video and say your morning routine out loud. I wake up at blank, I do this, then I do that. Go ahead, try it.
And if you stumble, that's okay. Just keep going. The goal is to speak, not to be perfect.
Exactly. Now, here's something I want to emphasize. The more you speak, even if it's just to yourself, the easier it gets. Your brain starts forming English sentences faster. You stop translating, you stop overthinking.
It's like training a muscle, Ava. At first, it's weak and slow, but if you use it every day, it gets stronger and faster.
That's a perfect analogy. So if you take one thing away from today's lesson, let it be this. Speak every single day, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Talk to yourself, read a sentence out loud, describe what you see around you, narrate your actions. The consistency is what matters.
And remember, every time you speak, even if you make 10 mistakes, you're improving because you're building fluency, and fluency beats perfection every single time.
Absolutely. So let's wrap this up. Today, we talked about why you freeze when speaking English. It's not your vocabulary, it's not your grammar. It's hesitation, overthinking, fear of mistakes, and trying to translate instead of thinking in English.
And we gave you real strategies. Simplify your ideas. Use filler phrases to buy time. Speak in low-pressure situations. Don't compare yourself to native speakers. And most importantly, speak every day.
So your challenge for this week is simple. Every morning, spend just 5 minutes talking to yourself in English. Describe your day, talk about your plans, say anything, just speak.
And if you found this lesson helpful, let us know. We'd love to hear how you're practicing and improving.
Thanks so much for listening to Daily English Learn today. I'm Ava.
And I'm Mark. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and don't let fear stop you.
We'll see you in the next episode. Take care and happy learning.